Today's video dedication is for Whiskey Jack. Starscream versus Uril, Thada Adel and Tajik. That's a pretty fast hand for us, but could just end up emptying our hand into nothing. We'll try it. We are second in the turn order, which isn't too bad. Our opponent gets down a tap land, and we draw into a Peer into the Abyss. Seeing a Sanctum Weaver from the Enchantress player. And that is a Skull Clamp for us. We do have a little bit of token shenanigans in this deck, so hopefully make some use of that. Get down the swamp, and we'll go for the more than meets the eye cost. And then I'm going to swing in towards the Thada Adel player because, well, it's mono blue and they're looking to steal artifacts off us, so argument to be made for the Uril as well. It's those two players that I'm most worried about. So Starscream has then become the Monarch, and they've been dealt 2 damage there, so the Blood Chief Ascension will get its first counter. Precinct Captain from Tajik. Now Hero of Iroas for the Naya player, the mono blue player just holding up a couple of blue mana. And we draw into a Toxic Deluge, so yeah, we're going in at Thada again and trying to take the monarchy away. Argument to be made against a Pongify, going on to the Starscream here maybe, so we could have equipped it with the Skull Clamp, but regardless we'll just go in at the mono blue player and try to take the monarchy away. And there we see an Unsummon, so throw down the Nykthos, and we might as well just recast the commander again here. And yeah, won't bother with anything else. The Skull Clamp is just going to fall off the Starscream anyway. So you would assume that Precinct Captain would steal the monarchy away from the mono blue player here. And therefore put a counter on the Blood Chief Ascension, start gaining some life from that hopefully. No, instead swinging in at us, leaving the monarchy with the mono blue player doesn't seem like a clever idea. Might as well take the card draw while you can get it, especially in a Boros deck. So they do manage to hit us and make a soldier token with that. Fabled Hero after that. And now a Changeling that can gain flying. They do need to tap an untapped creature in order to gain flying, so we should hopefully be able to get the Starscream past them. Actually don't have a great means of drawing cards into Starscream anyway, so yeah, I'm surprised that the Blood Chief Ascension doesn't have more counters on it by now. And there we see Uril the Miststalker. So is that going to be swinging in at us as well? Well, we've got another basic available to us there, so Prismatic Vista will get out as many basics as possible in case we draw into Cabal's Stronghold. I think we've got extra planar lens in this list as well. Yeah, so we'll just attempt this Starscream again. Argument to be made for me going for the Toxic Deluge to wipe out a lot of creatures here, but that was the plan until Uril came down, so I'm just going to hold on to as many wipes as possible, just in case, just in case the Uril gets really big and threatening. Okay, so managing to land damage there, that will put a counter on the Ascension, and we become the Monarch. Not sure what else we're doing this turn, to be honest. So now it is Starscream power hungry. So do we just go Skull Clamp here? Might as well equip it onto our commander because it isn't going to be the vehicle for now. Encourage someone else to use their board wipe, although I don't think anyone's going to. We draw a card to the Monarch there, so we'll point ourselves at the Boros player, seeing as how they're looking at us anyway. I dare say that the Uril is going to swing in at us, and if they do, it might encourage a board wipe. Just drew into a swamp from the monarchy. Tajik Blade of the Legion into play now, so that will be swinging in with Battalion next turn. And alright, the Precinct Captain swinging in at the mono blue player now, so that does mean that the Blood Chief Ascension is going to be online. So it'd be good to see the Thada Adel come into play next turn, then we can wrap up all the commanders in a Damnation. And there we see a Clone. Can come down as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, and they copy a Uril just for the sake of getting a 5/5 with hexproof, I imagine. That does mean that a Damnation is less likely to be countered at least. The first aura is Flicker Form, going on to the Uril. So we'll assume that they're just going to hold up 4 mana to be able to activate that, and that makes the board wipes worse. And yep, the Uril swinging in towards us. So they take the monarchy away from us. It will transform our commander as well, which will make the Skull Clamp fall off it. So Starscream active again. There is an Agadeem's Awakening. We actually don't have all that many creatures in the deck, so I do wonder if it's worth having that in here. Yeah, anyway. I think the plan is here to go up here into the Abyss. And we might have to just discard a bunch of cards to hand. In fact, we will have to do that. Unless we hold off on a land drop, which I don't think we can do. No, we can't hold off on that. So we will swing in at our opponent, the Euro player, and hope that they can't remove the Starscream. Noteworthy that they can afford to both flicker their commander and use a Swords to Plowshares or a Path on us. Okay, allowing us to take the monarchy away from our opponent. So that will transform our commander, and we can deal a bunch of damage to someone with a Peer into the Abyss, assuming that this actually stays in play. So drop a swamp and we'll go Peer into the Abyss, targeting ourselves. I'm just really going to struggle against the Euro player, that's why I'm trying to be so aggressive here. We're going to go down to 15 life. And we draw a hell of a lot of cards, and we've got to put all these on the stack, unfortunately. I'll see if I can fast forward it. With Magic Online you can save the targets on some things. But nope, you can only do that once it's actually on the stack, stupidly. So it's 19 of these onto my opponent here. And then I'll probably put the rest on the Boros player. Unfortunately, seeing the mono blue player scoop here. Okay, and yeah, that pretty much screwed the Boros player there. I'm not sure if we would have had enough. I didn't actually work it out. Probably would have had enough to get rid of the Boros player anyway, and then it would have been a one-on-one. Yeah, we probably drew about 40 cards there, which means it would have been 40 triggers on the stack, of course, so we're distributing 80 damage from the Starscream. Pretty risky play, but it did pan out for us. Not a particularly interactive one, but there was nothing else for us to do, really, other than wipe the board, and then we would have lost our Starscream, so yeah, I think that panned out quite nicely for us in the end. Starscream versus Sithis, Sisay and Light Paws. And we've got an Oubliette, which should be a good answer to either Sisay or Sithis, I imagine, or Light Paws. Yeah, we're up against three powerful commanders here, although the No Mercy might help us. We will keep. We draw into a swamp on turn 1, just drop that down. Saw a Manifold Key from Sisay, Weatherlight Captain, and Abundant Growth for Sithis. And as you would expect, seeing Light Paws on turn 2. Sisay casts Nature's Law. Now it's Sithis, Harvest Sand. So I think Sithis is going to go for a bunch of removal onto Sisay. Yeah, we can probably get away with not doing anything for a few turns. There's the Peer into the Abyss again. So it's a swamp into a fat load of nothing here. Light Paws playing an Ancient Tomb and being enchanted by Stone Skin, which allows Light Paws to fetch out a Mask of Law and Grace. So it has protection from black and red. And a 2/12 swings in at Sisay. Sisay Weatherlight Captain into play. I'm hoping for removal onto that Sisay from the Sithis player. Fertile Ground first of all. Not seeing any removal this turn. That is an Alseid of Life's Bounty. And we draw into Malakir Rebirth. So yeah, we'll just drop the Reliquary Tower here and get down the Starscream, I think. Then I'll attack the Sisay player because I want to show my opponents that I'm seeing them as the threat. So Sisay becomes the Monarch. Indestructible onto the Light Paws now. Luckily still a 2/12. Indestructible from the Gift of Immortality, fetched out protection from green and blue. So have protection from every colour except white. Obviously Pro White would have all the auras drop off. So swinging in at Sithis. Caged Sun is going to double up the mana for, what is that, for green. So I'm guessing that they have a Yavimaya available to them. Glad I didn't play out the Urborg because they might have named Swamp with that. They currently have 3 lands that tap for green. So tapping the 2 untapped ones down for 4 mana in total. And that takes them into a Karn Scion of Urza. Making a construct with that. I think we can continue to have Sisay be the threat here while we slowly start to do something. They still have the Monarchy, so they draw with that. Okay, now is an Aura of Silence, just in time for Oubliette and No Mercy. Yeah, if they're not going to put removal on the Sisay, then, well, they're not exactly helping us by not allowing us to get down the Oubliette. Not that they know that, of course. So let's take the Monarchy away from our opponent. We're not drawing particularly well. That is a Harvester of Souls. Transforms our commander again. And we'll throw out the Cabal Stronghold, even though we've hardly got any basics in play. Yeah, it looks like we're just holding up the Malakir Rebirth for our commander. I was hoping to get down the No Mercy this turn, but This has put the kibosh on that one. Drawing 2 Cabal Coffers with the Urborg, so I kind of wish I'd dropped the Urborg now. Trying to hold off on the Urborg while Ancient Tomb is in play and potentially fixing black mana for this player for things like Caged Sun. Anyway, we have a target player lose 2 life. It can just be the Sisay player. Shielded by Faith now. Well, pretty redundant with the Gift of Immortality. I thought they would keep that in hand. Still no buffs on the Light Paws. Maybe they can get one here. Now seeing an Angelic Gift flying and draw a card when it enters. So now swinging in at us to take the Monarchy away. Everyone ignoring the Khan. The Khan hasn't been dealt any damage yet, surprisingly. So they take the Monarchy away. Starscream will be transformed, which will protect it against a board wipe at least. The Mana Vault being untapped by the Manifold Key by Sisay. Seems as though this is an artifact build so far. And yep, seeing an Immortal Sun, which switches off their Planeswalker, strangely. They could have made a construct with that and then gone for the Immortal Sun. Anyway, a Farseat. Yeah, all the cooler stuff doesn't really help them with Sisay Weatherlight Captain. Yeah, this hasn't really done much since it entered, strangely. 1 card in hand, see if they decide to swing in. Taking the Monarchy back from the white player. Another Enchantress spell for Sithis, Enchantress's Presence. Then after that, round to our turn again, so yep, that is a Prismatic Vista. The Cabal Coffers is more useful to us with Urborg now than the Cabal Stronghold is going to be anytime soon, so we'll take the Monarchy away from our opponent. It's a shame I didn't get down the Urborg last turn. We could have played Harvester of Souls. Swing in straight at the Sisay player. This is quite a slow, strange game so far. Then it's Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth ready for the Cabal Coffers next turn. And why don't we just go for this Oubliette now? Our opponent doesn't seem to be doing much with the Sisay and Sithis. I mean, the longer Sithis is in play, the worse it's going to be for us. We can encourage them to crack the Alseid of Life's Bounty, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, we're doing nothing this game so far. So might as well get rid of something. Best case scenario, the Oubliette gets rid of the Sithis and forces them to crack the Aura of Silence, but I imagine they should just do this in response. Okay, drawing in 2 Phyrexian Reclamation at the end step. So we'll have an opponent lose 2, that can be the Sithis again, because they just keep gaining life over there. Mana Crypt from the Light Paws player. Then we see another Aura, that is Chomano's Blessing. Choose a colour and get protection from that colour. I mean, they've got plenty of that in the deck apparently. And there we go, allows them into All That Glitters. So finally deciding to actually buff the Light Paws. And there is an Umbra Mystic, so even a board wipe won't get rid of the Light Paws now. So it'll have to be spot removal onto this, and then a board wipe for the Light Paws because we can't target it. And they go in at Sisay, thankfully, so that should give us a chance to get down the No Mercy. Now through to Sisay's turn, drawing an additional card from the Immortal Sun. They sit at 13 points of commander damage from the Light Paws. As long as we keep the Monarch, which, yeah, assumes we keep the Starscream in play effectively, we will be able to get rid of a player again next turn with the Peer into the Abyss if we want to. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather do something at least slightly interesting this game. Tezzeret the Seeker, definitely an artifacts deck. They're not just really unlucky with all the artifacts they're getting into. Okay, and our opponent has cracked the Aura of Silence now. Really weird time to do it. They've gone for Aura of Silence onto the Oubliette now. We don't even know what they're tutoring out with the Tezzeret yet, so I mean, they could even have done that on their turn. I'm not sure what's encouraged them to do that here. But we have managed to see the back of Aura of Silence at least, so that bodes well for us keeping No Mercy in play. Now seeing from Sisay a Sanctum of Calm Waters. Don't think we've seen an activation from Tezzeret yet. Okay. That was the weirdest Sisay deck I've ever seen. This is a strange game so far. Sylvan Library from the Sithis player will draw them 2 cards. And then following that up with a Blind Obedience. I'm surprised at how little removal we've seen from Sithis so far. Are we really just going to have to go for Peer into the Abyss again? Okay, and now these 2 are going to take the Monarchy away from us. They do have 2 mana held up at the moment. So we've transformed into Seeker Leader as well. And let's see what we draw into this turn. This is another land. Yeah, I apologise. I was hoping for some fun and exciting games with Starscream, but apparently we're just going to get more of the same here, so we'll tap down into the Cabal coffers. Actually, I'll have to swing in first, won't I? That was almost a mistake. Swing in and try to take the Monarchy away from the Celestia player. So managing to successfully take the Monarchy away from my opponent will transform the commander, and we just have to hope that we manage to keep our commander in play. There could be a Swords or a Path from this player, which Malakir Rebirth wouldn't help with. Go for Peer into the Abyss anyway. So once again, target ourselves with Peer into the Abyss. We're going to draw 42 cards here, which means we can distribute 80 life, and yeah, there we go. So then we just put all those on the stack, half of it pointed at Sithis, half of it pointed at Light Paws, and yeah, unfortunately it's exactly the same win again. Alright, so Sithis deciding to scoop for us there, and we can now just auto-yield, the rest go on the stack onto the Light Paws automatically. And there we go, our opponent goes down to -1, still with a bunch of triggers on the stack, which obviously would have gone on Sithis. So apologies that we didn't get more interesting games with Starscream. I am having the absolute worst recording session that I've had in a very long time trying to get content for this channel, so I don't know if you're going to have your typical daily content this week or not, but hopefully you got some enjoyment from the Starscream video anyway. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.